TomTom wants out. Let's go over this. Motion of TomTom North America, Inc. to lift the stay to permit termination of license agreement, or in the alternative, compel the debtors to reject license agreement. And the whole thing's in consideration to the transfer of the TomTom license to American Lease. Let's go through it. First, the preliminary statement. This is a straightforward motion for stay relief to permit TomTom to terminate an executory software and data license agreement with the debtor. Cause exists to lift the automatic stay. Number 2, upon granting of relief, TomTom intends to terminate the license agreement, which authorized termination upon the commencement of this bankruptcy case. That's the case that TomTom is making, that in their original terms of their agreement, in the event Fisker goes into bankruptcy, TomTom can cancel their agreement. Number 3, the debtors have already sold their entire vehicle fleet, and the license agreement licenses software and data to the debtor that is to be used in the vehicle fleet that the debtors no longer own. There is no reason to allow the license agreement to remain in limbo status where there is only one option for the debtors anyway: rejection. Number 4, TomTom seeks entry of an order lifting the automatic stay under 362 of the Bankruptcy Code to permit TomTom to terminate the license agreement and waiving the applicability of the 14th day stay period under Rule 4001A3, or in the alternative, compelling the debtors to reject the license agreement. Number 5 through 9 are a bunch of rules. Number 10 states that the debtors are in bankruptcy. Number 11 mentions the sale to American Lease. Number 12, the sale included, quote, all Fisker vehicles configured for the United States and Canada, located in either the United States, Belgium, or Austria, which vehicles shall be delivered as is, end quote. Number 14 states what TomTom is: maps, navigation, real-time traffic. TomTom is licensed software and data services on a non-exclusive basis, supporting the Ocean's in-vehicle digital cockpit, positioning, navigation, mapping, and other services, and support of the driver assistance systems. Hilarious joke there, considering those aren't complete. 15 mentions the agreements they made. 16 says there's a summary, and also mentions the license agreement grants, quote, non-exclusive, end quote, and quote, revocable, end quote, licenses to the debtor. Those aren't fun words. 17, under the license agreement, TomTom granted to the debtor the following non-exclusive revocable licenses. There's 3 highlights under 17, and the last part of letter A is the most important. Hardware that is at all times in licensee's control and possession is not installed on any other hardware, and that the third party receiving the demonstration does not obtain possession or control of any copy of the licensed products. Letter B basically states that the production period is used, quote, to develop, manufacture, and produce the permitted applications, end quote. I would assume emphasis on permitted. Letter C says during the service period, TomTom will, quote, provide the online services via the permitted applications for use in connection with the vehicle, end quote, and, quote, update the map data, end quote, in the vehicles. Number 18, the license agreement defines licensed products as the products set forth in Schedule B, basically definitions of map data, live services, APIs, and other software. Number 19, the license agreement also defined the permitted applications as the applications set forth in Schedule A to the license agreement. Schedule A stated that, quote, the permitted application is an in-vehicle infotainment unit, end quote. Section 2, the license agreement grants TomTom the right to terminate the license agreement upon commencement of the debtor's bankruptcy case. That's not good. Number 20, Section 27.3.3 of the license agreement permitted either party to terminate the license agreement with immediate effect by notifying the other party in writing if the other party commences any insolvency, bankruptcy, or receivership proceedings. Number 21, all rights granted under this agreement shall cease, and the debtor shall immediately discontinue all use of the licensed products, end quote. Yikes. Number 3, the license agreement prohibits the debtor from assigning the license agreement without TomTom's consent. This is the American Lease part. Number 22, Section 30 of the license agreement provides that neither party shall, without the prior written consent of the other party, assign or transfer this agreement or the benefit or burden of the rights under this agreement. That's kind of the gotcha statement right there. The debtor has not sought nor obtained TomTom's consent to assign any of the debtor's rights or burdens under the license agreement. 24, TomTom hereby confirms that it does not and would not consent to the assignment of the debtor's rights under the license agreement, including any assignment to any third parties. As far as the relief requested, the court should lift the automatic stay to permit TomTom to terminate the license agreement because the license agreement is not assumable as a matter of law. 25 is a bunch of evidence that this has been done in the past. 26, cause for lifting the automatic stay because the license agreement is not assumable. Section 365C1 states the debtor may not assume or assign any executory contract if applicable law excuses a party to such contract from accepting performance from or rendering performance to an entity other than the debtor or the debtor in possession. Yikes. 27 mentions the hypothetical test. 28 talks about patent and copyright law. 29 mentions the license agreement is certainly an executory contract that is subject to 365 of the Bankruptcy Code. And if it didn't hurt at this point, number 30, here beyond the unpaid amounts, the debtor has many other ongoing underperformed obligations under the license agreement, which are material, providing additional independent grounds to conclude that the license agreement is executory, and goes into some detail about what items have been underperformed. The majority of published decisions cite with approval the so-called countryman definition, which has been expressed as follows: a contract which the obligation of both the bankrupt and the other party to the contract are so far underperformed that the failure of either to complete performance would constitute a material breach, excusing performance of the other, as well as referencing a single technical contact person, abnormal use, prevention of piracy. Further down, number 37, the data processing agreement is also going to be terminated because, quote, it shall continue in full force and effect until the termination of the license agreement, and in any case for so long as the processor possesses or is processing personal data, including backups, on behalf of the controller beyond that date. Thus, by termination of the license agreement, the data processing agreement would also be subject to termination. 38 makes a good case there would be no prejudice to the debtors or their estates because the debtors could not benefit from the subject matter of the license agreement anyway. Good point. The debtors already sold their entire fleet of vehicles, and the license agreement only permitted the debtors to license software and data to be used in that fleet, which the debtors no longer own. And there are ongoing executory obligations described above that the debtor will no longer be able to perform going forward anyway. Number 39 says, accordingly, the court should lift the stay to permit TomTom to terminate the license agreement. And based on the current motion, all this will be heard on September 12th. Remember, this is just a motion and nothing is set in stone. They're asking the court to lift the stay. But I thought it was very interesting and definitely important as far as owners' news and things you might want to consider in your future ownership. There's a hearing on the 14th. I'll have more details there. Join Patreon or become a YouTube member for early access to videos. Subscribe for more, and we'll see you on the next one.
Hey, smash the like button.
Thank you.